Welcome back. In this lecture, we are going to talk about functions calling other functions. So let's take one step further and calling one function from inside the another function. And this is something we'll do all the time in the JavaScript. So beginners get trouble understanding. So I created a specific video just for this topic. For example, let's go back to the previous example. Functions, fruit processor, apples and oranges. You remember, right? That. So we'll just get back that example here. Yeah, here we got our example from the previous video. So in this example, let's consider that the fruit processor can only make juice with smaller fruit pieces. And so for making the juice for the fruit processor, now we need another machine that first cuts the fruits and gives it multiple smaller pieces. So this example might be a little bit silly. Yeah, but let's take this to the console and let's just write the code here. So before this, we need to write our function, right? So here we are going to declare the function and we are going to name it as cut fruit pieces. Okay. In this, we are going to write parenthesis called fruit here. Okay. And we'll open the brackets and here we'll return fruit into 4. So you'll get to know why we have written fruit into 4 because in the question previous scenario itself, after the cutting the fruit, it needs to declare into the 4 pieces, right? So we are declaring here 4 into 4, and then while coming to this, here we are going to declare constant. We'll take new constants. For example, apple juice. Here apple pieces we'll take. We are going to write cut fruit pieces of apples in this line. Okay. Similarly, we'll take for oranges pieces. So here we are going to take again the cut fruit pieces of oranges. Okay. And then here we are going to return outside, right? So here we are going to give our input. So fruit processors, we are going to give our input as, for example, 2 and 3. Okay. Yeah, let's as we have written our code, right? So let's understand how the data flows here. So try to analyze this code. So how the data is moving out here. So uh, let me just show you the picture here, how this data is getting flowed here. So pause this video and try to understand here. Okay, as you could ask, we can use multiple functions here by apples. Yeah, as you can see that here we have declared apple pieces, right? So here it has to be apple pieces, not just apples. So because these example we have taken from previous example, right? So here we have to take orange pieces. So and also here we are going to declare this in the constant. We are going to declare this here in the console. And also you can see that we haven't declared any variable to store it. So see, as you can see our output, right? So juice with 8 apples and 12 oranges. So okay, you got it right. So initially how we are writing our function here. So we have declared a function here, fruit processor, and we are taking two variables, apples and oranges. So here this 2 will be for apples and this 3 will be for oranges. So the value will be stored here. So cut fruit pieces into apples. So this value is getting stored in the apple pieces. and similarly it goes for oranges as well. So in this line of code we are writing juices with apple pieces, right? So in this value we are getting our value stored 2, and we are getting orange places, right? So this and all line is getting stored in this juice. So when we return this juice, it directly goes here, right? So fruit, right? It is going to cut fruit, right? Well, you could ask, we can use multiple functions by here apples into, right? We could actually, but if we did this function calling other functions, because so as you could ask me, instead of using this function, we can just directly declare here apples into 4, apple oranges into 4. But we could do that. And also, why I have used this case in this functions in functions is because mainly two reasons. One is it is very common for other functions to call another function, and in the second reason, this is also a very good example to show do not repeat yourself principle that I said in earlier. So basically the dry principle. For example, if cutting machine didn't cut 4, okay, instead of we are writing here taking scenario here 4, right? Let's just say we want to cut only 3 pieces for the fruit. So during this example we written this function, right? So we no need to change the whole code, simply just change here the value, it is enough. So if we write here into 4, we need to change the whole code, so it will be a lot more process. So let me just show you the example by clicking here, changing our question to, we are cutting the cut fruit pieces, only 3 pieces per fruit. As you can see, our value is changed here to 9 apples and 9 oranges. So it might be confusing, but for now you are doing a lot better. So in the next video we'll take time to review the fundamentals and principles about functions. So that's it for this video.